Welcome to the Crossing King Garage. I'm Randy.
And I'm Kristen. And today I'm very excited because we are going to talk about one of my favorite creators in the film television industry. And that person is Dean Devlin.
If you've been around the movies for a very long time, all the way back to 1994, I believe, you will know this name. You may not know because he's kind of a background guy in most everything.
But he is actually really important, especially to nerd culture.
I would say, go so far as to say he's prolific.
Dean Devlin is the man who co-wrote with Roland Emmerich, Stargate, starring Kurt Russell and James Spader.
Right.
Back in 1994. He followed that up 2 years later with Independence Day. Starring Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum.
Right.
He is also a producer. Those are movies he wrote, but he is also a producer. He's produced films such as The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson, Flyboys, starring James Franco, the Librarian trilogy, which we'll discuss a little bit further later on in the video, and he returned to Independence Day for its sequel, Resurgence. He was also the second unit director on the original Independence Day.
One of the things we love about Dean Devlin is his versatility to make it between the big screen and the small screen. Predominantly over the last 15 years or so, we've seen him, we have enjoyed him, and we've discovered several of his projects that we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the Dean Demo.
Most of these projects are produced through his company, the Electric Entertainment Production Company, which has produced a whole mess of stuff. It actually has its own streaming service called Electric Now.
And all of this stuff can be seen on Freevee, Amazon Prime's
free streaming service.
Free streaming service, yes.
Before we get into the shows that we're going to talk about in detail, I do want to make mention of Dean Devlin as a person. He is a really good person from everything I've read about him. He loves working with multiple of the same actors, you will see the pattern when we get into talking about his shows. He loves to stay true to his actors as well as his co-writers. Roland Emmerich he works with frequently. Robert Zemeckis, I believe he works with frequently. He also works frequently with his wife, actress Lisa Brenner. They have been married for 20 years this year, according to IMDb.
Happy anniversary.
On July 4th. So, happy anniversary, Lisa and Dean. Here's to many more projects from you both. But Dean Devlin is one of those creators in the Hollywood industry that anytime you see his name attached to it, you're just like, this is going to be entertaining if nothing else.
That's right. And we found the entertainment as a discovery more than anything. We have come into the Dean Demo universe a little bit late, if you will, by finding some of our favorite television shows.
I found Leverage, the very first show we're going to talk about. That was the first show where we really discovered Dean Devlin on Netflix, randomly, just looking for something to watch, and I binged it in like a month.
And then we've gone from there to really dive in deeper to find out everything that the man has been involved in. And we've been relatively pleasantly surprised at the quality of the projects that he does.
Be sure to check out his Wikipedia page as well as IMDb for all of his credits, because the man has been involved in films in just about every aspect that he can be. Producer, writer, director, second unit director, miscellaneous crew. I think I even saw a soundtrack credit somewhere on there. He's had bit acting parts. Like, the man is amazing.
So, we bring you
The Dean Demo.
The Dean Demo.
Starting with Daddy.
We discovered this television show after Kristen saw it on Netflix. After she binge watched the entire series, she was down with watching it again and introduced it to the rest of the family. That television show is the show Leverage. It originally debuted on the TNT network, Turner Network Television. It came out in 2008 and ran through 2012 for 5 seasons. It starred Timothy Hutton as Nathan Ford, Gina Bellman as Sophie Devereaux, Aldous Hodge as Alec Hardison, Christian Kane as Elliot Spencer, and Beth Riesgraf as Parker. Now, these characters are all, with the exception of Nathan, crooks, for the lack of a better expression.
And that's putting it nicely.
and it really sets up the show to be unique in its concept, in the fact that you have the crooks being the good guys.
One of the reviews I've read for this show says it's basically if the A-Team and the Ocean's 11 franchise were mashed together in the most perfect way imaginable.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Yes, sir.
So this show is a must-watch if you're going to enjoy Dean Devlin's projects. It really does set the tone for at least his television series. So let me unpack that just a little bit. Nathan Ford is a former insurance investigator who gets involved with a crew that he has at one time or another chased all over the world in his requiring and reacquisitions of the insurance properties that he had worked for. He loses a child and then goes after the company who refused to pay for the child's exploratory treatment. He then takes this team and goes after them. And in the process of over the 5 years, you see Nate turn into one of the good bad guys, so to speak.
As the mastermind. That is the title they put on him over the opening credits.
He's the creative genius who puts all the plans together. And as you would imagine, the series starts off with just building a trust and coalescing the team together. So, investigate, if you will, Leverage by Dean Devlin. It is available to stream
on Freevee.
If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you get to watch this thing for free.
I believe you can also stream it on Dean Devlin's Electric Now streaming service.
The team goes after corrupt corporations who have wronged the ordinary average guys that they encounter. So, thoroughly enjoyable. Give yourself some time because, like I said, it's 5 seasons, and enjoy Leverage.
If you watch like the background of Leverage, because that's what I've done on subsequent rewatches, you will find recurring jokes and themes and even actors. Jonathan Frakes of Star Trek The Next Generation theme, he directed multiple episodes of Leverage and appears in at least every season as a like background cameo. I believe it's every season, but he does have multiple background cameos, which is hysterical because the character of Hardison, I'll run down the characters in just a second. The character of Hardison is a very big Star Trek fan, so it's hilarious that just there in the background of the entire show is Jonathan Frakes just floating through. But other than Nathan Ford, like Dad said, we have Gina Bellman as Sophie Devereaux. She's what's called a grifter, which is a con artist, but she does her job beautifully.
Very convincing. Very convincing.
Christian Kane, who is the hitter.
He's the heavy.
The
muscle.
He's the muscle. You see him coming and you're just like, oh dear. The man is shorter than pretty much the entire cast, but he'll mess you up. And Christian Kane does most of his own stunts and fight choreography from what I've been able to suss out. Aldous Hodge as Alec Hardison is the hacker, Age of the Geek baby. He's the one with all the best catchphrases. Personal opinion?
Computer expert.
And then there's Parker. She's the thief. And I can't explain Parker. I can't explain Parker. You want to take a crack at explaining Parker?
Watch the show. The really, really neat thing also is Timothy Hutton is the son of Jim Hutton, who many in my decade and generation will remember from having his Ellery Queen television show. One episode.
A Halloween episode.
Tim Hutton dons a hat very, very much.
He dons the whole costume and actually tells Sophie, Ellery Queen was one of the best detectives ever around. So it's a really sweet tribute.
A very nice nod to his father.
Yeah, the whole show, it just has this feel-good vibe. And that doesn't mean that it's all happy sunshine and rainbows, but the whole show has a feel-good vibe and has some amazing guest stars as well. Mark Sheppard, Supernatural and Doctor Who fame.
A recurring character.
As a recurring character. Jerry Ryan.
7 of 9.
Yes, another Star Trek alum that Hardison apparently didn't recognize. And Will Wheaton, also as Hardison's nemesis.
All of these are recurring characters. Again, you need to just go back and watch the show.
Watch the whole show. It's phenomenal. And it is my favorite show of all time, I do believe. So thank you, Dean. Thank you very, very much.
Nice job. Moving on.
All right, next show we're going to talk about is The Librarians. Now, this is a spin-off show of the Dean Devlin produced Librarian trilogy, which aired on the TNT cable network. It starred Rebecca Romijn, Christian Kane, Lindy Booth, John Kim, and John Larroquette. Oh, I love John Larroquette so much. It also recurred with Noah Wyle, who was the librarian in the original trilogy. Noah Wyle is spectacular in the Librarian trilogy, but he's only a recurring role until like the last season. Then he's in most of the episodes
of the television
show. The show ran for 4 years, never really changed the cast up, which is wonderful. We love a consistent cast. Mm-hmm. And you could see Dean Devlin's fingerprints all over it. The spark, the snappy dialogue. I know he directed a few episodes, and I know he wrote a few episodes. The whole thing, and it's such an immersive universe. Mm-hmm. The basic plot is this group of people work at what is called the library, which is basically this like nexus point for all the world's magic. And like we do this whole thing where fairy tales are real. John Larroquette character Jenkins is actually like Lancelot from the Arthurian myths.
And he took that over as Jenkins from Bob Newhart, who was the exquisite Judson in the original trilogy movies.
The other three, Christian Kane's Jake Stone, Lindy Booth's Cassandra, and John Kim's Ezekiel, they are what is referred to as the little librarians or the librarians in training. And they have a really cute dynamic because they just go round and round bickering a little bit. Like, they're just a bunch of little siblings, and then there's Rebecca Romijn and John Larroquette just trying to figure out how we keep the siblings in control. It's adorable.
And the good thing about Dean Devlin is when he starts a television show, the thing that we have noticed is there is a recurring story that is just serves as the arc of the entire television show. We see this with the Librarians. We also saw it with Leverage, that there is an overarching narrative that you know that this group of people is going to get to eventually. Mm-hmm. And they craft it in a very, very week-to-week episodic storytelling.
But there's always that arc there in the background working its way through.
It always fits into that frame.
It's really, really good. You can tell a Dean Devlin show just by the pure wonderful structure. Episodes that seem like one-offs are very important in the finale. Like, it's amazing.
Next we have Almost Paradise. This is one of the most recent Dean Devlin television projects. And again, you're going to hear some very familiar names as we go through its casting. It is an American-Filipino television crime drama.
The first American show to ever get permission to film in the Philippines.
And it's filmed exclusively in the Philippines. It is produced by Dean Devlin, also available on Freevee. Its second season should be appearing sometime in the not-too-distant future, so be watching for that. Season 1 is available. Go binge it on Freevee. It's a very, very enjoyable television show.
It's only like 12-ish episodes, I believe.
It has 3 principal characters. Christian Kane, who we've talked about from Leverage, and the Librarians, is the principal character of Alex Walker. He's a retired former DEA agent who goes to the Philippines, Cebu, Philippines, to be exact, to retire and relax. The stress has taken its toll on his body, and his Doctors have warned him that he will have a massive heart attack if he doesn't find a peaceful place to relax.
But
that doesn't really happen. He eventually finds himself in the midst of several of the different crimes that occur in Cebu. Apparently this is as bad as Hawaii. Cebu, Philippines, we're sorry, but the TV shows a lot of trouble there, brother. Fortunately, Alex Walker is there to help the detectives, Kai and Ernesto, to figure all the things out. And they're also working among a police chief who is
politically motivated.
Absolutely politically motivated. So, the cast includes, again, Christian Kane as Alex Walker. It includes Samantha Rochelle as Kai Mendoza, who's the female lead. And Ernesto Amelrez, played by Arthur Acuna. He's Kai's partner and the other principal detective. So basically, you've taken an American and plopped them down and working with local law enforcement to solve crimes. Obviously, with Christian Kane's character's background, he has some insight to give to the Cebu Police Department that in many ways is charming, it's entertaining, sometimes funny, but most of all, thoroughly enjoyable. Check out Almost Paradise.
One of the cool things about this show, I didn't know very much about the Philippines, and it goes out of its way to show a lot of the Filipino culture and just how these people live. Some of my favorite, recurring, not necessarily main stars, but one of my favorite recurring characters is Christian Kane's character's boss. She's just this older Filipino lady that just will not take any crap from him and will not give him anything.
She's the hotel manager that
Alex is running his gift shop out of.
Right.
But she eventually grows a soft spot for him, but she's still just you can pay rent next week. He's in the hospital and she comes to visit him and he's just like, hey, I'm gonna be a little late. She's like, you pay next week. You pay next
It's
week.
Charming.
It's adorable. We love it. So we're looking forward to season 2. I think it'll be out this year, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, check out Almost Paradise on Freevee. Next up, we have Leverage Redemption, the sequel series to Leverage.
It's absolutely precious. For those of you who like the first 5 seasons of Leverage,
This
you're
is
going to
Leverage
enjoy
2.0.
this throwback. And add in the librarian veteran, Noah Wiley.
As well as Elise Shannon, who plays Hardison's foster sister, Brianna Casey. Noah Wiley's character's name is Harry Wilson. He's a former sleazebag lawyer, that is the best way to phrase it, who worked for the bad guys. But then he started to grow conscience after the bad guys' legal ways of handling business led to people dying. Harry grows a conscience, start trying to take him out, and he runs into our team, this time headed by Sophie. The plot of this show centers around Sophie Devereaux moving on after Nathan Ford's death, and the rest of the team trying to help her as she grieves Nathan's death.
And the team has gone worldwide. So every once in a while you hear about Leverage International, which is worldwide efforts of teams just like the one that we see week in and week out, thwarting incredibly corrupt governments sometimes, but certainly corporations that working for the little guy.
Mm-hmm. They're Robin Hoods, and it's the best thing ever. Hardison, due to Aldous Hodge becoming the absolute most sought after actor in Hollywood, he wasn't able to be a regular cast member on the show due to his commitments to other things. He has multiple TV shows happening. He's actually about to play Alex Cross in a TV show about that character by James Patterson.
Right.
But since he couldn't be a regular, they brought in Elise Shannon's Brianna to be their hacker, but she's also kind of, the title they give her is Maker, because she likes to play with drones and things of that nature.
She's still a computer expert that they need to make sure that they have all their stuff running.
She makes sure that the team doesn't get seen while they're committing these crimes, because everything the crew does is illegal. Sophie even has a line to Brianna, never forget, Brianna, we are the bad guys. They own it. They know that they are not the good guys here, but they're doing the bad things to try to fix the worst things, if that makes any form of sense.
And then make it good things
for the people that
they're
got
trying
wronged.
to help.
One of the reasons I really do love Leverage Redemption is that we've gotten the chance to dive further in with specifically Sophie, Elliot, and Parker. We get to see a little bit more how Parker deals with things. She and Hardison have a relationship. They're in a relationship. And with Hardison being gone, Parker is dealing with a lot of like her emotional stuff. Elliot, we've gotten a good bit on his background, which is something we didn't really get much of in the original Leverage. And we got 2, possibly 3 episodes that really deal with his history, and they are all phenomenally acted by Christian Kane. I love it when Christian gets to like show his range, because it's not something he gets to do very often, because he's the muscle. So
in all of the television shows that we've talked about, he seems to be almost typecast. Hey, Mr. Devlin, give Christian some broad spectrum role.
Yeah, we love the emotion he brought in the episode with his dad in this most recent season of Leverage Redemption. Give Christian more of that, because we loved it. And then Gina Bellman, who is always fabulous as Sophie, got to bring so much to Sophie's, particularly this season, or this most recent season, season 2 of Leverage Redemption. Because we finally got to hear about a lot of backstory, which actually tied in to an episode of Leverage. Like, the minute they started talking about it in season 2, I'm like, wait, that's that episode. Dad, that's that episode. We're finally going to get answers about that episode.
Again, Dean Devlin showing his mastery at
continuity,
providing a narrative that is overarching, regardless of whether the television shows are seen as one total unit or as seen as separate, very nicely done separate shows. Leverage Redemption is a sequel. However, they have harkened back to several of the characters, several of the scenarios, even some of the cases that the team dealt with in the previous show.
But through it all, even though he is the newest comer and is the only one who doesn't already have a connection to the group, Harry Wilson is no slouch, and they actually let him have so much fun in this last season because he got to be on the grift, which is the term they use for, him being part of the con a little bit more. And it's so clear that Noah Wyle is just having a blast with it.
You may recognize that name. We may have mentioned it as well. But Noah Wyle was a principal in the ER television show very many years ago. We don't want to recall just how many at this point. But ER was outstanding, and Noah Wyle was outstanding in it. He has teamed up now with Dean Devlin on several projects and seems to be a unique partner with Devlin in
much
things
the
going
same
forward.
way Christian Kane is, because
Right.
Christian has 5 seasons of Leverage, 4 seasons of Librarians, now 2 seasons of Almost Paradise, and 2 seasons of Leverage Redemption. Hopefully 3. Please, freebie, renew it. I want more. I'm not done with it yet. So, yeah, Christian Kane and Dean Devlin and Noah Wyle and Dean Devlin, they are all really good partners in the Devlin-verse.
We have, however, noticed that in the newest Dean Devlin project that just came out on Sci-Fi,
The Ark,
none of these principal characters that we've yet, Christian Kane, Noah Wyle, some of the others, with one exception.
Lisa Brenner, his wife.
His wife has appeared on the Ark as a dead person in the original episode. Sleeping, sorry. Cryogenically sleeping person in the pilot episode, which is all we've seen so far. We're kind of waiting to be able to binge 3 or 4 episodes of this show.
We like to binge it because when we were watching the pilot, we were all just like, this is so stressful. My heart is pounding, which is so cool because we've not really seen full on heart pounding, except for the finale of Leverage, which made me cry like a baby. But we've not seen like this, oh my goodness, everybody is about to die mentality and that the arc brings to it.
Dean Devlin returns to his science fiction roots and does it very, very well. If the rest of the season is any indication, based off of the pilot, the Ark is a television show that you're going to want to see. The premise of the show is there is this cryogenically sleeping colony of people who are on their way to inhabit another planet when something terrible goes wrong. Their commanders are all killed in that process, and you're left with a second level of leaders who have to figure out how to navigate getting this colony to the place that they're supposed to be going. Again, just like Kristen said, very much Lost in Space, but with a very good dramatic arc.
This is a giant space station, so this isn't one of those where we can like land on any random planet that we see and try to find resources. This is, we have to stay floating. We have to stay floating. We can't stop and look for water. We can't stop and look for food. We have to just keep going and pray we make it.
So, our point is, go and check out the Ark. It's on the Sci-Fi Network, and it's Dean Devlin's newest project. Again, we want to have you go back, check out his Wikipedia page, check out the IMDb, or imdb.com if you don't happen to have the app, page for Dean Devlin and all of his projects. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how many things this incredible creative person has been involved in that you know about.
I would personally recommend watching Leverage first. If you like Leverage, you're gonna like the rest of his shows. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend watching Leverage first. If it's your cup of tea, watch the rest. If not, maybe move on to Librarians, because they are completely different genres. Right. Similar like cast setup, but totally different end of the spectrum as far as genres go. But that's it for the Dean demo. Dean Devlin, we love your stuff. Please keep cranking out shows and films to the standard that you have, because we love them. Please give us another season of Leverage Redemption.
Another season of Almost Paradise, too.
Yes. As many seasons as you're willing to give us of both of those shows, we will happily take them.
We certainly want you to make money to the process. Don't just do it for us.
Don't just do it for us, although we are fans.
We would highly appreciate it, though. We're glad that you stopped by for the Dean demo. And, again, we're Cross and Kin. This is the Cross and Kin Garage. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye!